We've got a totally wide open spot here in the yard, right off the deck. You got kitchen windows right there, bedrooms up top, and this will all be overlooking a brand new pond. We're in Lafayette, New Jersey, and we're about to install a brand new pond in this blank space. I was here several months ago, and I met with Patrick. We laid this out, and now we're back here to actually build it. You might be wondering how I remember what we're gonna build when we come back months and months later. I take a picture. And I make a video. This way I know exactly what we discussed, all those really important notes that the customer wants to make sure we incorporate. Like over here, there's going to be a feeding rock with a boulder that he can sit on. We're going to kind of replicate that over on that side. He's got a fire pit that he's going to be reinstalling once we're all finished. Intake bay over on this side. We're going to use a skimmer inside here as well, just to pull the extra debris out. And then up on the far side, we're going to have a really nice, beautiful waterfall. Now we've got an existing berm, which is fantastic. He's got a retaining wall that was already built here, holding up this berm. So having a waterfall here just makes a ton of sense. Now we're also doing underwater lighting here, and I just love the shape of this pond. It's got a lot of twists and turns and undulations. For me, shape of pond is extremely important because you're looking at a piece of artwork out in the yard. When this is all done and they're sitting on the deck or they're looking out the windows, you're gonna see a beautiful looking water feature with those awesome cascades in the background. Now, since the pond is already laid out, we can go ahead and shape this out with our shovels, just cutting those edges, kind of like cutting out a cake. We're gonna strip all that grass out of here and get rid of it. We don't want any of those organics underneath our berm or anywhere that they might rot and then settle. Look at the size of some of these limestone boulders. They've got a really like bluish gray color to them. I love the way these look. Lots of flat tops on them. They're gonna look great all layered back in there. We've got some that we can actually stand up or lay down, whatever we choose to do with it. Right now you're looking at about 8 tons of rock. All in all, we'll probably use close to 20 on this project. So we've got more rock that's going to be coming, and we'll vary the sizes. This is going to be the big stuff, and then from there we'll step down to more hand manageable, or even like maybe some 18-inch to 2-footers. Now that you know what we're doing, let's fire this baby up and start creating paradise.
Tie you to this track. Come hell high water, I'll leave you and never look back. Come hell high water, I'll bring your blue skies down. Come hell high water, I'll kiss you and make no sound. You before you fall. Come hell or high water, I'll come in like a wrecking ball. Someday you'll come running, somehow rivers calling. You'll see I'll be longing, I'm free. Come hell or high water, I'm gonna make you love me.
I'm really liking the shape of this pond. When we've got a big footprint like this, we have the ability to really bring those edges in and then back out again. So when it's finished, it's gonna look like a beautiful big lagoon. Down this end, we've got the beginning of our intake bay skimmer. We're pulling in here through these aqua blocks. We've got a pump vault there that's gonna feed the water up to the top of our biofalls. And then we're actually putting a skimmer in here that's gonna clear the debris out of the intake, and we'll use that pump to work some jets inside the pond so we get total circulation, moving all the water down towards this area. We got the beginning of a fish cave right there. We use ADS road pipe to form out the structure of the fish cave. We'll flank that with some rock work, and then we'll go over the top of it. That stuff is super strong. It's made to be buried underground. So when we cover it with rock, it's really gonna be a structural piece inside the pond. Now we can get focused on rocking in the bottom here. I want to go to these key inside turn areas, and that's where we'll place the big boulders so we can really accentuate those turns. When we get to the outside turns, we'll go with smaller rock to really hug that curve so we don't lose the shape inside our pond. There'll be another fish cave over on that end underneath where the waterfall area is. I like doing that because there's a lot of turbulence where the waterfall comes in, kind of blurs the water, you can't see too well, so if there was a predator, great place for the fish to hide. When we find the water level in our pond, we're looking for the places that have the viewing area or something up against it. Now, this is an obvious sidewalk. We could have used that to determine our water level, but over on the other side, that's where the fire pit area is. It's actually lower than this patio, so we've got to go with the lowest area that's not going to have a grade change to it. So what we do is we'll shoot that with our laser. We'll determine what the height of that is, and we're gonna go about 3 inches below that for the actual water level. Once we get the water level determined by using the laser, we like to drive a stake into the ground. So we'll use a piece of rebar, and we'll actually set that about 1 foot above water level. So every day when we come in and we set our laser back up, even if it was to move, because it's probably going to move, even if it's incremental, like 1/4 inch, it could set off our grade majorly on the other side. With that pin being in place, we know that the top of that pin is 1 foot above water. Every day we can shoot that and we find exactly where we left off the day before. If you're at home building a project like this, that's a really great tip, because chances are this is a big pond. So if you're doing this by yourself, it might take you days or even weeks to build something like this. Having that grade in one location where it's not going to move, easy to set up every day and reshoot that, is going to be critical, so that when your finished product is done, your water level is not in the wrong spot. Let's sling up some rocks and start building this pond.
All right, so it's day 3 here on this 20 by 29 pond. We're starting the morning off. Colby and I are setting some rocks over there in the intake, getting that all framed out and situated. Colby's just filling in some joints with some small rocks that he's got a little pile over there. He's foaming up behind and under a lot of the rocks over in that area, so that way we can get that water actually flowing right in between that gap where Colby is, instead of flowing through the rocks, so that way all of our debris goes in there and not in all the little cracks and crevices in between each rock. Drew's over here starting to get ready to lay down that big flat stone, that big feeding rock. He brought some stack stone with him today to really get this nice and level, super level, so that way that stone sits nice and flush in here. So he's getting that all situated. He's got his level. The rock's out there, but it's a nice big flat one that's gonna stretch and cantilever over the wall he's actually making here just a little bit. And then you see he even has a little light worked in there. So that's gonna be a super cool place to be, whether you're coming out here at night or even in the morning to come and feed the fish that eventually will be in here. Today we want to get this pond pretty much all the way rocked in, all the way up until here. So setting our frame rocks down here, setting one of our uplights for the last drop of the waterfall, and then kind of buttoning up everything. So it would be ideal to start maybe doing some of the edges across, or starting along all here into the pond and into the intake. So that way tomorrow it is pretty much focusing on the waterfall. And then Friday's just clean up, a little bit of touch up, and then this thing will be 100% finished. But Friday's 2 days from now, and we still have a lot of rocks to get in here, so let's get rolling.
Alright AWG Rockstars, it's trivia time, and this week's question is, what's the technique used by Drew earlier in the video? He is using small stones to build something from them. Drop your answers in the comments below.
The pond is looking incredible. We were able to keep that shape of the pond by using small rocks on those outside turns and going through the big boulders on the inside, really accentuating those curves. This looks fantastic. We got the feeding rock out here. This is going to be a great spot to stand and feed the fish. Our jets are being placed in all the circulation areas that we need. We got 2 down the bottom and then 1 up in that cove there. Then we've got our aeration, which is not only going to aerate the pond, but it's also going to act like a jet by itself, because that air as it comes up is going to come up into a plume and then push the water out this way, sending it into our intake. We have another one that's going to go directly underneath the waterfall. And speaking of waterfall, we're on to my favorite part. We've got the bottom drop framed out. So I've got a big frame rock here, big frame rock there, and we kind of pinch these 2 together. What's going to happen is we're going to place a weir stone back behind this, which is going to give us an equalizer. It's going to have water spilling off. It's going to bounce off of this. We'll do some stonework in here to close that gap up. So there should be a lot of water flowing action happening just with that 1 set of drops. We've also got to come out here and flank the backside of it. So we've got to put a buffer rock in here that's going to corral the water off our waterfall. That'll happen once we get this all sealed up with foam. Place a rock there, we'll place a rock there. Then we can step back to our next set of cascades. This one is facing directly into the pond, which is right at the deck in the house. What I'd like to do with the next one is actually turn it this way, so we get a lot of back and forth action happening. This one will fall off here, pooling area, come this way, and then we've got the biofalls, which is offset to the left, so we can go left, right, and then back down the center. Now, if you guys don't know, I love working with large boulders. It just makes it feel so realistic. They plant right into the landscape, and I love the character of the rocks. I brought this one this morning specifically to use as a waterfall. We've got a natural shoulder over here, which is going to corral the water. This is going to be our weir. So I can set this in place and then frame with something else, like right here. That's going to have a waterfall, instant waterfall with 2 rocks. Anytime you can do that, it looks so amazing and completely natural. The plan today is to get this waterfall done. The pond is just about there. If that happens, we can literally wash this down, put water in it, and fire it up. In order to see that happen, you're gonna have to come back for the next video. Part 2, we will completely finish this pond and waterfall, plug it in, and you're not gonna be sorry if you come back here, I promise you. Hit that subscribe button, come on back. Every week we're doing this, building beautiful water features and showing you how we do it. See you on the next one.